Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for another opportunity to do this podcast, God. We just ask that you would bless every father, that you would bless every listener, and that you would bless this country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And welcome back, membership. My name is Kennedy, just like the president from UAW Local 140. And we're back, and it's Father's Day. Shout out to the fathers on Father's Day. Matter of fact, we're going to name this Man Day. Right, we're going to celebrate the men today. I was in church today and I had the opportunity to welcome the visitors, and there was a script, as me and Chantel was talking about earlier, inside joke, if you know, right? And I got off script and I thought about fathers, but just thinking about men, this being June and being Father's Day, I know every man is not a father. They may be a father figure. So I do believe men need to be celebrated, whether they're fathers or not. So we're going to celebrate men today.
All right. It's always good to celebrate men, Steve. Always.
Right on. And coming back, our usual political director here today. I'm excited. We got our main man, the prayer warrior in the house, straight from Yanktown. We don't back down, Mr. Pontiac himself, the legendary Kermit Williams, and as he's known by me, KW.
All right, good. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back on This Is What We Do, but we got some business to take care of first, Steve. You was complaining the other day that you didn't have a Believe in Pontiac shirt, so I want to make sure you got one over here. Back, Kermit from Mayor, this is your side, sir. So we appreciate all that you do.
So I will be wearing that this week. I'm thinking I might wear this tomorrow, because I'm on the line somewhere. So you'll see me somewhere around Warren Truck with my T-shirt on. If you see my T-shirt on, say, "What up, dog?" Straight from Yanktown. We don't back down.
Yeah, listen, we don't back down. But so I'm very excited to be here. Shout out to all of the fathers, father figures, people who have poured into the lives of young people. One of the things that I was hearing today, which was a good question, I'm going to start with you, Steve. What is the best part to you about being a father?
The best part of waking up, right?
It's Folgers in my cup.
No, it's being a father. That's the best part of waking up, man. Shout out to my son, Elijah Kennedy. Saina, as I call him. Everybody know if you know. First, shout out to my son. Just being able to pour into somebody and to mold someone, right? I don't know what life was like before I was a father. And I was saying that like 2 or 3 years in. Like I don't know what it's like to have to not care for him. I don't have to care for him as much now, but he's always going to be my son, so I'm going to care for him no matter what. But yeah, the best part is being able to have somebody to mold someone, to shape someone, to making your image, right? And to pour things into them and to see, and for that person, the message my son sent to me this morning as a text message, it made me smile. And I sent a text message letting him know, you're the only person that can put a smile on my face like this, right? There's a connection that we have that I never had with anything else, right? Because it's that special connection that I have with him. And I only have one, but I don't want to say I only have one because I have a lot of other people, young people that I pour into, my nieces and nephews, the family, like the type of family I grew up in. Your first set of cousins are like your brothers and sisters, right? It's just been like that, and I'm training them in that way. So my nieces and nephews and a couple of cousins that were of my first cousins, I'm making sure, I call them the Gen Z Kennedys. We try to get together once a month, have dinner, and just bond, just be together. And if you're a personal friend on Facebook, you'll see me post a picture probably once a month saying this is what cares the most to me, and just being able to mold someone who loves you unconditionally, someone who I told him when he was little, I was like, look, I'm gonna give you everything you want now, because when I get older, you're gonna have to give me what I want. It's not negotiable. We have that agreement still to this day. I gave him what he wanted. He's a good kid. I love him. And if the Lord blessed me to get older in age where he has to take care of me, mm-hmm. Right? I expect him, if I want it, give it to me.
Yeah, that's a crucial thing, Steve. What do you think is the best advice? I'll do it the two ways. What's the best advice your late father gave you, and what's the best advice you've given your son?
So this is a live call-in show, 810-560-0658. So if you'd like to call in and talk to the legendary Kermit Williams, my main man from Pontiac, mayoral candidate of the city of Pontiac, KW as I call him. One of my bestest. When I say bestest of the bestest, Right on. Bestest of the bestest, right? Me and Kerwin have talks. We have real talks. We have men talks. That's my brother, flat out. So some of the best advice my father gave me. The best advice, I'm going to answer any way that I want to because I like to tell the story. When my father passed away, I didn't realize how smart, intelligent, how in tune he was. You know, a lot of things that I would push back on with him having things of that nature. As I got older, I got to see why he did what he did. Right, my father was really good on being positive. He was really big on he loved the Lord. He was also really big about his family. And my father was a worker. Right, my father left the state of Alabama, him and my mother, and where they came from, what they killed and what they grew is what they ate. So I'm happy to say this, being a UAW member who is no longer here, the lifestyle he left my mother, like at the age she is 82 years old now. And if I need something, I can call my mother for some money, right? How many women at that age, at this stage can, but I don't, because I have a good union paying job. My sisters have great jobs, but she don't have to call me for anything. I found out exactly how much money my mother was getting a month. I was like, man, I'm not working overtime, man. You making like what and what? You know, she doing pretty good. House is paid for. So I brought that up about killing and eating and what they had. But when my father left his house, he had a home paid for. He had cars paid for. He had multiple homes, multiple cars, multiple boats. Like he had these things. That's the American dream to me, right? So the best advice he gave me was how he lived. You know, soon after he passed away, I was down in Alabama at their home, and I was driving around his truck. Just, you know, it's an older truck, driving around, and I was pulling back in the driveway, and he had dogs, and the dogs came back up, run up to the car, and at that moment, everything just ran back to me. I used to push on my father about having dogs. Why do you have dogs? You do not need dogs, because they would come here in Michigan to visit, and they had to leave because they had to take care of their dogs. Man, forget them dogs, right? I wanted my parents home and visit, so I would get upset. Me and him would go back and forth. But what I found out, living out in the area that they live in, those dogs was the first warning system, right? So if somebody put up in your driveway where there were no lights, like at least the dog, oh man, this dude knew what he was doing. It just started coming back to me. Those times when I held the flashlight at the car, and I'm like, I want to go inside and watch TV. I want to watch Voltron. But I know how to change my own brakes. I know how to change my own oil. I can change a tire.
All right.
I can change some things on cars, you know what I mean? Going to those homes, with those homes that he bought, those rental properties he was able to buy with that good union money to have an enterprise for his own self, to provide for his retirement. Going in that, I can put drywall up, right? There's things that I can do because I sat there and I watched. Right, and that's and all those things that he was teaching, holding the light, and just it was kind of like that Mr. Miyagi type thing. Like I'm wiping floors, but I'm learning something. Now I'm learning how
wax on, wax
off.
You the Karate Kid now?
Yes, I am. Wow. So you would say what's some of the best advice? Just that, and really, my father, his example. Right, my father had so many Bibles. He was always looking in the Bible, researching stuff. My father could look at a tree and look at it and smell it and tell you what it was.
What?
Yes.
So, hold on, Steve. You saying he could walk up to a sycamore tree and smell it and tell you what it was?
He could smell it, put it in the mouth, do that type of stuff and tell you what it was. He didn't barbecue with charcoal. He barbecued with wood. And he knew what it was. I'm like, why this dude got this wood up against the side of the house? Right? So there's so many things that I saw. Like before organic was organic, he had a garden every year, multiple acres of garden. Corn, butter beans, string beans, potatoes, tomatoes.
Steve, I didn't eat before I came on the show, brother, and now you're trying to make me hungry. I don't understand what you're doing out there. But you said he had a garden before organic was popular.
Before it was popular. I remember he would try to sell it. People didn't want to buy it. He would try to give it away. People didn't want it. People are paying top dollar for something that's not grown with chemicals. I remember going to the cow pasture, digging up cow dung, putting it in the back of the truck so he can go use it as fertilizer. This natural food they just grew.
So you got a garden now?
No, I don't.
Okay, so that's a problem.
No, that's not. But I know how to put one together. I don't have a rototiller. I know what all that stuff is. I know how to harvest. And even now to this day, my mother has a small garden behind her home. There were some people who were living, who had some cows, they would come and grow on their land and stuff. So so that was the best advice my father, just his example on being a man, going to work every day, working in the factory and seeing people not being able to go to work. Like my father went to work every single day. And he taught me that not by telling me that, but by doing that. I go to work every day. Mm-hmm. I don't understand, not being judgmental, but there's absenteeism going on at the factory I work at and other factories, and I'm wondering why people have an issue going to work. Right? So that was the best advice, living the example as a man, teaching me and showing me how to be a man, a God-fearing man. So some of the best advice I've given my son, do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later.
And so you living that example, Steve?
Yes.
You're doing what you got to do now so you can do what you want to do later?
Yes. You see how my boy called me on the carpet like that?
Because me and Steve used to go to the gym together, and so he ain't called me about the gym in a long time. So and I ain't been, so I can tell even now. So we had a softball tournament. Big shout out to Troy Craft and Craft T Athletics. So they got an adult softball league, and I was calling Steve yesterday. He was at somewhere, but he couldn't come.
I was at the Men's Health Fair. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, but he was at the Men's Health Fair. But anyway, so I need people for this team. It's co-ed, but it's beautiful. There are people out there that have been playing their whole life. I've never played. I think we played softball maybe once or twice in a back lot in Spring Lake, maybe once ever. So I didn't know none of the rules yesterday or anything. I know baseball rules, but they wasn't playing by baseball rules. Softball is different, right?
Oh, wow.
So it's a little different on what could be out. You can run by the bases and all this other stuff. So I just hid somewhere in the outfield. We did not win. But now I'm going to be ready for next week. So I got to go get me a glove. I got to go get a bat. I got to go get all this stuff to go along with it. But it was great to see the community come together. And when I think about softball and baseball, those people who are really successful in those sports really have fathers, active men that have been passed on. One of my coworkers, big shout out to Autumn Butler. Her son
shout out to Autumn.
Plays baseball, and her bonus son plays baseball. And one of the things that they say is it's a generational thing, because you have to see your daughter, your father doing it, then you end up emulating that, learning the rules, learning the sport, and doing all that other stuff. And so I think about it, I don't remember us playing baseball like that. There were baseball teams around and all of that other stuff in Pontiac, but I just don't remember playing. I remember we gravitated toward basketball and football, because you didn't need all that extra equipment. You just needed a ball, especially for basketball. You just needed a basketball and a hoop. Sometimes we didn't have a hoop. We used to play on a crate. You don't know nothing about that milk crate life, Steve. But we used to play.
I was in the garden. I was under the car holding for a lamp and stuff. So
yeah, that's what he said. But anyway, he don't know nothing about the crates. So anyway, we used to put the crate on the phone pole, and then we would shoot on the phone pole. Then all of a sudden we would play at the Holland Center and other places. But just having those fathers there watching and playing on those teams is phenomenal, just to see the community come together. And this was an adult sports team. And so it's every week. Craft T Athletics is doing it. If you want to donate to what Troy is doing, you should definitely donate, because all of this is coming out of the teams and out of the pocket. He's got to pay for referees and all of this other stuff. That's all coming together. But that's what Pontiac should really look like. And so it's been organic. I think there's 8 teams. We played our first game yesterday. It was not successful, but we were playing against some people that they let me know that they had been playing behind WHRC since they were 7 years old. So I feel like they were some kind of ringers. But we were out there. We did look good in our green shirts, though. So at least we had the optics right. But we had some guys that stepped up off the street. We're still looking for people. And we're looking for ladies to play. This is co-ed.
Okay. So there's a shout out. There's a shout out to the audience all week. The Honorable Kermit Williams is looking for someone to play on his softball team in the city of Pontiac.
Mm-hmm. At the Mill Dam.
At the Mill Dam, Bodette Park.
Yeah, Bodette Park. See, people don't, some people don't know. You can tell what generation they're from if they call it Bodette or they call it the Mill Dam. Right. But either way, we're going to be at the Mill Dam. It's every Saturday. If you want to make sure you do that.
How can they get in contact with you if they want to get on your team? Because I think I have at least 1 or 2 members who will reach out and want to play softball.
Well, you got to play, Steve. That's the thing. 248-980-8382. Again, that's 248-980-8382. 8-2, and it's really been a phenomenal experience. I had fun yesterday, tore up my shoes, but it was good. And so I'll be back next week, but I'll be ready to make that happen. So it was great. We had some people that were really, really good on our team. Then we had people like me. So we just trying to find that balance. I'm trying to get to coaching mode, so I need enough players where I can sit on the sideline and yell and kick up some dirt like Sparky Anderson. Right. So that's where I'm trying to get to. But anyway.
It's A.J. Hinch now.
What's that?
That's the Tigers manager, A.J. Hinch.
Okay, A.J. Hinch. I don't know him. I'm a Sparky guy. So that's that. Sparky was the man.
He don't have as much fire as Sparky.
Yeah, that's what I liked. I liked that fire. So he was a great coach.
Yeah.
Years and years, and so just that history. I like the old Tiger Stadium, going out there seeing Trammell and all them other guys play. So baseball is great. We need to make sure that we are doing what we need to do all the day, and so we're going to be playing every Saturday.
Okay. So Kermit Williams is he has a softball league that's going on here in Pontiac every Saturday. Get in contact with him.
I got a team. Troy has the league. I got a team.
So
I got. Yeah. So don't call me about any of the problems. I'm not the. team. I'm not the Adam Silver.
So call out to some labor members who want to join in, play softball with Kermit Williams. He's looking for men and women. It's a co-ed thing. So please give him a call, 248-980-8382, about his softball team that he has.
Yeah, fathers that was there. I do want to talk about, Steve, we've just lost a whole lot of legends recently. The great Everett C. from the city of Pontiac recently passed away. His services is going to be next week. We lost Mr. Bias. Well, they transitioned. Let me say that. It's not a loss, but a transition. And then we also lost Mr. Brown that used to be over the Boys and Girls Club on Pike Street.
Oh, wow.
So those were three notable guys that had been doing big things in the community. But I got a story about your uncle and Everett C. I told this at the memorial. So I ran against Everett when I was 22 years old.
Yeah, that was your first opponent. I remember that. That's when I met Kermit. I met him before that.
But lost by 35 votes. And so, but after that, he really embraced me and took me under his wing. I became the president of the CDC, and he really gave me some wisdom and some advice, right? So 4 years later, Everett ran for mayor, and then that was an open seat for city council. So I ran for the city council seat again, right? So I come up, and Steve's uncle's got a barbershop, right? So I come in the door.
Barbershop on Pike Street.
I'm walking everywhere in the community, so I got my little flyers with me, right? So I'm passing out my flyers. I go to the door. He opens the door. He says, "Stop what you're doing. I'm an Everett C man. I'm always going to be an Everett C man." I said, "Well, that's not a problem this time because Everett's ready for mayor, and you can vote for him, and you can vote for me too." But it was just people in the community that had really embraced how good of a person he actually was. Like, there's stories that I found out only after I got on city council about him inviting people into the council conference room to sleep on the couch when they didn't have a place to stay.
Oh, wow.
And so those kind of things just stay with me, especially when you're talking about being a public servant or even giving back to your community. So that's just very important to note. And then we've got the things that are happening globally. So you got people like Everett C. that was going, feeding people, giving people jobs and doing all that kind of stuff. And now we got people nationally getting assassinated for being a Democrat. And so I don't know if you know about it, Steve.
Yeah, I heard about that yesterday when I was at the Ray Corps gala that they had, and they mentioned the director of English mentioned that 2 politicians were attacked. I know I read up on it a little bit. There was a politician, a woman, and her husband were killed, and then there was another politician. He was injured. I don't know if he had a mate or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I know, and I think they had an idea who had did it. They were looking for it. But right quick, we're going to go into that. We talk about that. We want to say Vaquita Taylor, she's watching. She says, amen. She says, representing Local 51. Karen Stocker said, lead by example. Yeah, she was talking about when I was talking about my dad. She said, happy Father's Day, y'all. Hey, Karen, nice to see you. Hope to see you back at work soon. And we got Mario Percoli, who was on last week. Looking good, gentlemen. Happy Father's Day. Thank you guys for watching. So I'm sitting here with the great Kermit Williams from the city of Pontiac, mayoral candidate, my friend, my buddy. I'm straight up with it That's my boy. I'm biased. He's here. We're here promoting him, representing him. 810-560-0658. But we're just sitting here talking. The person I have, if we're completely transparent, I have for Father's Day, something came up, and I called just a loyal person who's always loyal to the show, been loyal to me, and Kermit was like, yes. Right? And he just showed up. And that's what it did. Because if not, it would have been me. And I would have just been saying, hey, UAW Logo 140. So, but I got one of the most interesting people that I know, a friend of the show who's been on here, who's fascinating. And we're talking about, he just mentioned speaking about people being attacked yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they got attacked.
Man, there's a lot of anger out here, man.
Well, not only that, but you got to realize that this country,
that's not cool,
is being run and fueled on hate right now. One of the proudest moments in my life was I was an early supporter of Barack Obama before it was sexy, before it was popular and all this other stuff. As a young black man, he was running for president. I'm rolling with him. They was like, oh, well, he's not hood enough, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And, the list goes on. And then he won Iowa, right? Yeah. And so as soon as he won Iowa, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. They was like, oh, yeah, this is the brother. He gonna do it. He got the momentum. And so I always think about how important debates or one particular moment in history is to shape your political career. But he embraced one concept, right, which was hope. Mm-hmm. And so people who had never voted before, have never voted again, came out because he was able to make them feel like this was us together. Hope, right? Y'all remember that big picture they had, the poster with the Technicolors? Yeah, I had one of them in my office for the longest, right? Those posters was everywhere, and they was bootlegging them all together. People made money off Barack Obama, yes. But that's another show. But one of the things is that he talked about hope. And people came from droves that never voted, never believed in the political process. Organizers for change were all over. Everybody was joining the movement. People were volunteering to register to vote. We registered 3,000 people that year in Pontiac right before the election, right? Now we have a guy that has that same emotional energy, just in a negative way. Mm-hmm. This guy has been able to win 2 national elections on hate. And in between that, when he didn't win the election in the middle, he led people on an insurrection to overthrow the government with that same energy and hate. And so they had all those No King days yesterday, right? Protests all around the country. You see it with ISIS. People are in an uproar. They're upset. They're ready to do something in their communities. They're protesting. We got senators that are getting kicked out of meetings because they're Hispanic. There's no way that you can tell me that if that had been another nationality, that would have happened to that man like that. I just believe that these are the views of Kermit Williams and not This Is What We Do podcast with Steve Kennedy. So I'm saying that I really believe that we're at a turning point in our history where they're trying to erase things that happened that were turning points in the land. They've changed the law now where if you feel like you're discriminated against and you are a Caucasian person, you don't have to prove that you were in an endangered group in order for that to happen. They've lowered the standard and the bar for that. So if you feel like you're a Karen and you didn't get a raise, now you can go to the Supreme Court and actually sue, and the bar is much lower. So they're doing all of these things at the same time that they're eroding rights, illegally holding people against their will, doing everything that is against democracy. And the people are now in shock, all in amazement, Steve. The problem is we told them ahead of time. All of the protests now should have happened in November. You had a highly educated Vice President of the United States, where people, for whatever reason, didn't like the way she looked, didn't like her husband, didn't like her ethnic background, didn't like the fact that she was a woman, and decided that they were going to stay home. And now they're going through the torture of these 4 years, and now they're upset. Now they want us to tear down the Bastille and knock on the walls and knock on the doors. And I feel their anger, because I'm angry too. But we have to be honest, because nobody's talking about the fact that this was all avoidable. Nobody is saying that if we had just voted in the numbers that we needed to vote in, we wouldn't have had this problem. So we had people that decided when it was a sister, because, and happy Father's Day, decided that there was a difference between men and women, even though she was the most qualified. You ended up electing, for the first time in history, a president with felonies. Right? But I got brothers and cousins who can't get jobs in Pontiac because they have felonies. And you're letting somebody lead this country with 37. And these are not, see, this is the thing, because people are in my inbox right now because I always talk about people who have been justice impacted. A big part of my campaign is making sure that I'm a mayor for all of the citizens of Pontiac, right? And we have a huge swath of people who have been justice impacted. Either they have dealt with the criminal justice system by committing a crime, or they've been a victim of a crime. We just had 2 young people shot the other day on Auburn Street. And life has to matter. But we also have to make sure that we're reintegrating people into society. And I'm not just talking about making sure they got a driver's license and can vote. We got to make sure they have a pathway to prosperity once they've done their time. But the difference is, I have to look at what kind of crime you commit. And when the crime is of moral integrity, how can you then decide to be the head of the United States? Let me say it to you like this, Steve. If you robbed a bank, right, and they gave you a 15-year sentence, you served your sentence and you came out, matter of fact, you had good behavior, so they let you out in 10 years, right? As long as you're not working at a bank, it shouldn't be a problem. The problem is this country decided that this guy who was morally bankrupt, we're going to make the head of our country. This is the symbol of our democracy at this time, and you would not let this man babysit your daughter. Go ahead, Steve. I'm just saying. Would you? I mean, think about it. If Elijah was a 9 right now, would you let him in your home?
No. I mean, I hear you, but I'm of the argument. I mean, we knew what was going to happen. I mean, why is a surprise and shocking? I'm not saying that. I love the spirit of protest. I love that they have that going on. I love that. I understand that. And I love to see that, that's one of the legacies of African-American people, the legacy of protest. And they're taking it up. That's one thing that you really can do right now is protest. Right? But I mean, America, well, as Americans, we have to face some things. We have to actually speak what the truth is and not try to manipulate the truth. We need to tell what it was. We shouldn't say that we put these people in bondage and we gave them skilled trades. Now they're better tradesmen. No, that's not it. These people had these skills before we even got here. So a lot of things that go on as far as who we have currently in leadership and things. That leadership matters. And just bringing it back around to the labor aspect, leadership in these companies matter. General Motors just announced that they're going to reinvest into the Lake Orion plant. I think like $4.5 million to bring some of their truck production back to the Orion plant. Right, right, which is good news. Right, jobs here. I mean, that's really important. Shout out to them. But on the other hand, the company I work for, Stellantis, here at Warren Truck, I can speak upon them. We're still down to 1 shift. Right, they're bringing 45 people in, and that it's. And we have the capacity for American products. We have capacity for trucks and things of that nature. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but the morale is very low, right? And it's like they don't have a responsibility. They're not an American company. They don't have a responsibility to the Americans. I think that General Motors and Ford has. Ford has a great commercial touting that they have the most, I don't want to misquote them, but they have more auto jobs than anyone in America. Like they have more auto jobs, they have more products being made here. That's something to touch your horn about. I mean, it used to be made in America, used to be something that was something not too long ago. Mm-hmm. Like it was something to be proud of. But now everything, it's like the race to the bottom. Right, so that's like with a lot of big box retailers and things of that nature, I don't want to go to because it's all about the price, right? Which I understand, but I mean, I was telling someone the other day, I remember when self-checkout was about 12 items. Now that's your checkout, buddy. Mm-hmm. Right, we accepted that. I was in the grocery store a couple of weeks ago, and a young lady the light was broken or something, and she didn't have it on, but I just happened to be in the line, and there was a long line, and I was like the last customer, and she was like, maybe I don't know if I should tell people if I'm open. Like,
that's terrible.
And I'm like, honey, I didn't go into it with it, but I can only think this is why you're losing your job. Mm-hmm. You have to protect your job. I tell people on my job, you have to protect your job. Don't let anyone do your job. Do your job.
Do your job. Yeah, no, I'm with you. See, my first official job, because we had, we was cutting grass, shoveling snow. I had a paper route. I didn't even manage to shout out to Arthur. He ran that paper route for me. But seriously, because I wasn't getting up at 6 o'clock. He was dragging me at 6 o'clock in the morning to go get it. But it was my paper route, and he gave me my little $25 at the end. I should have gave it back to him because he was doing all the work. But my first official job was at Myers. Shout out to UFCW, right? UFCW. I was a bagger, right? And so at 14, I think I was making, I want to say, $7.50 an hour.
Dang, you was getting paid.
Not at all. But yeah, by the time, FICA took it, I didn't know who FICA was, but me and FICA wanted to fight. But we were baggers, right? And so we saw the shift because they went from having baggers on every line to then just having cashiers, right? Mm-hmm. Now they went from cashiers to the blend with self-checkout, right? And so it used to be where, okay, it was 12 items or less, and then they got rid of those people, right? And so now they got 50 aisles, right? But only the self-checkout is open. They won't even turn on the light after certain times. And we got our own product, and the price hasn't went down.
No.
The price is only going up. Why am I doing that job? And so then they say, oh, well, if you get caught stealing, we're going to make sure that you get prosecuted to the up. Listen, I didn't put none of this on the shelves. But you got to think about it. Policies matter, Steve. When Rick Snyder became the governor, the first thing he did, and some people didn't even remember it.
He took the prices off
the prices off of everything. Yes. And so the price just has to be on the shelf.
Yes.
But it used to be every item had to be stickered.
There was a job.
And so you got rid of those jobs at that moment. And now you're seeing the ramifications of what he started by just getting rid of the price tag.
Yep.
And so now that's what it is. And if they can find a robot to stock the shelves, they're going to do that next too. And so you're looking at the demise, but people never look at the original policy. Right? So this happened. Snyder's been gone for 15 years.
Why do we need to put prices on everything? It doesn't matter. I remember people talking an argument, and they really just didn't care.
Right? But you remember, they started changing it. They were saying if the price is wrong, you get up to 10 cents and versus 1 cent. So they felt they had a benefit. When was the last time you argued about some milk, Steve?
A long time because I don't drink it, but no, it's been a while.
Yeah, you lactose can't tolerate. I get it.
That's right.
Me too. But either way, when was the last time you saw somebody at the grocery store really doing price check or whatever else that's right there? Nobody, right?
Nope.
And so you got rid of all of these jobs behindhand because once they got finished stickering, they put them, because they had to pay them anyway, so they put them as baggers, they put them as cashiers and all that other stuff. But once they got rid of having them at the store altogether, now everything you do is bagging it. I'm not trying to bag, and then they don't even give you paper bags as an option. You used to be able to tell them paper or plastic,
and now they want to. At some stores, they want to charge you for taking a bag.
Oh well, yeah, you got the Aldi's model. You got to buy you a box or find a box laying around.
You have to buy a bag, cart. You put a quarter in, things like that. But they had that when I was back living in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge. They had a grocery store like that. You had to put a quarter in there to get your card out, and then put it back to get your quarter, things of that nature. But we are so quick to get rid of our jobs. We're also quick not to want to work our jobs, right? We have to fight for these jobs. We have to make them necessary. And as consumers, I mean, it's tough trying not to go to that self-checkout. I mean, because I get it. You know, it seems like it's so much faster, right?
Yeah, but they don't give you options now. So even me, like I will wait if there's a cashier. I'll spend that extra time versus going to self checkout because I know that this might be one of the last Mohicans. This might be the last cashier that they got. So I want to make sure that they have it. But they understaff these people so tremendously. You got to think about it. Cashiers don't get tips. Can't take tips. They get paid that base pay, and then now instead of having 15 people to help and spread that out, they're ringing the people out. I just watched that terrible movie the other day. Well, let me not say terrible because I don't want to disparage black film. But I watched Straw the other day. You seen it? You seen it? Okay, yeah. So anyway, like her cashier story was like the real story. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but big shout out to Taji P. Henson. Like she acted like her acting was, she should win an Emmy, Oscar. She should win a Peabody, whatever she can win for that role because she played that role. And then there was a twist at the end, which was crazy. But what I want to say is, originally, she was at the cash register. The cash register was bagged up. Instead of the manager jumping in and ringing people up, he waited for her to get there.
The last straw. That's probably like kind of like okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so you got to watch it, Steve. And you can't complain about something you don't watch. So anyway, now I watched it so I can complain about it. So, but either way, we see that the people in the service industry are getting treated the worst. And it's been so much worse since the pandemic because people got used to DoorDash and other things, and they got away from tipping or even smiling at the people. When I pull up in a drive-through, I'm asking them how their day is. Because all they do now is, are you going to use your mobile app? And then they go right into it. They don't get any greeting. They don't get any of those things that are there.
That's mandatory with me. No matter where I go, what you like, here to go, whatever the case may be, the first thing I'm going to say is hello. And that's even on my job. When someone come talking to me, hello, how you doing? Right? I mean, that's just slow it. And that's why to slow the conversation down. Right? Just slow it down. Whoa. Hey, how you doing? Right? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You're good. That's what I'm talking about. You're not only slowing the conversation down, but you're honoring these people. These people have to work, and because we don't have paid family leave, which we should have in Michigan, that got stalled in the last administration, right when it was getting close to the finish line, and they should be picking it up right now, where you can take up to 3 weeks off or 12 weeks off of paid leave to take care of either you're getting sick or your family member getting sick or your kid getting sick in order to do that, and we dropped the ball. And so I juxtapose that with these protests that are happening. Part of it is at the local level and at the state level, we haven't been good at sharing the policies that actually change people's lives. And so when we actually make sure that we're holding every level of government accountable, you don't end up with another Donald Trump. These people feel a certain way because he was talking about draining the swamp and all of this other stuff, and they felt that he was authentic. When you talk to people don't realize that he spent years on wrestling shows and TV, becoming a household name. I mean, it's brilliant as far as doing it.
It's like that's what the president says. It was just like the WWF, the good guys versus the bad guys. Oh yeah, brother, we're gonna get him now. It's wrestling. It's what it is. And the McMahons are confident personal friends with the current president. His wife has been education secretary. They're trying to destroy the Department of Education, and Vince McMahon, who's a felon himself, right, doing crimes, things of that nature against his own business. He's an advisor. I guess they're buddies. Right? They probably share the same water hole.
Well, you got to understand that they made Linda the education secretary, and the first thing they want to do is cut down on the Department of Education. This is not money that just goes into schools. This is the Pell Grant. This is all of the federal stuff that comes into it. If it wasn't for the Pell Grant, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you because I wouldn't have graduated from college. There was no way that I could afford it without government help. Right? I'm first generation college graduate. My mother has cerebral palsy. She worked 2 jobs my whole life, but we lived on Section 8 and everything else, Steve. These government programs allowed me to not only get out of poverty, but be able to do things that I wouldn't normally be able to do. And all of this is under attack right now, and people don't see it. And so these people, for example, the McMahons and all of those other people just gave, I think it was $12 million to John James in a political PAC for him to run for governor of the state of Michigan. Why is this important, right? So you've got a man whose skin looks like me, but every policy is against everything that would hurt my community. And so this is the person they're pumping money into to deplete education. They're trying to get rid of public schools. Think about it. They've shifted the money first to charter schools, and now they're still trying to come back with the voucher system, meaning that we give you a voucher, you can go where you want to go. But now we have the pandemic of black kids in white spaces. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, they're getting good X's and O's when it comes to math, but they're not getting any cultural sensitivity. So they're over-sexualized, over-disciplined in these school settings, and so they come back as broken kids. So, yes, you sent them out to the school that you feel is the best, but now they don't have that cultural identity. They don't have that sense of self. They don't have that sense of well-being, and now they're struggling on a different level. So you got more of these kids with 4.0 GPAs that are depressed because they're in a school system where they're the minority in everything that they do, and they're treated like it, especially by the staff and the teacher. And it's not the kids, because kids get taught racism. Kids come out are loving, and if we could take the model from the kids, it would be great. But these adults systematically set it up where, okay, we'll take your best athlete, Steve, and then when count day is over, we're going to ship him back out. We're going to make sure that we take the brightest and best, but as soon as he has one discipline problem, we're going to send him back to Pontiac schools. Now, you've taken the money out of the community for that kid all of this time, and now you want to bring them back after you no longer have use for them. And so I get the dichotomy because people can't practice on their kids. And so one of the things as mayor that we've been working on is trying to figure out how we can truly partner with the school district, but also partner with these community churches to open up tutoring centers and other things. Because we got to be honest, Steve, we're celebrating Father's Day, but a lot of these kids don't have mentors, and their home situation is worse than the school situation. The schools are in bad shape all over this country. And so I know they're working hard. We've got some good educators, but we got to be honest. And so we worked with the Michigan Education Justice Coalition last year. And the governor not only wiped out $19 million in Pontiac school debt, and we lobbied her to do that, and I'm super proud about that, but we also had an African-American committee that was set up through MEJC. And what they did was they got $4 million, here to Steve, $4 million to recruit African-American and Latino teachers to schools in Michigan. Because you got to recruit black teachers. And so we've been asking these kids that I've been talking to as I've been knocking on doors is, when was the first time you had a black male teacher?
I know my first one came when I was fifth grade, Mr. Turner. He was the only black male teacher there, but yes.
Fifth grade. So how old are you in fifth grade? I was 10 I think, right? 10 years old. So you went through 5 years of school before this, Steve, without seeing a black male teacher.
On the end of the hallway at the end of the school. Yep, Mr. Turner. Bless his heart, yeah.
And so we're not even actively recruiting. So anyway, $4 million is in the budget. So shout out to Big Gretch for that one.
Shout out to Big Gretch.
And the MEJC and everybody who lobbied and all of the legislators who made that happen, because I beat up on them sometimes, but some things that they do are really good. But power matters. See, people don't understand that Sarah Anthony, a black lady from Lansing, is the head of appropriations. And when the Dems were in power, they were able to control the checkbook for the state. So more money for food, school lunch and all that other stuff. And the legislators are right now that the Republicans have got in charge, slashing that budget. They've literally put the fund that was there to provide free school lunch for everybody, they've literally put that in the per pupil money and saying that the schools need to live off of that. Why is that important, Steve? Back when Jefferson Middle School was still going in the city of Pontiac, because they had less money for per pupil than the surrounding areas, they ended up taking a nugget from every kid was supposed to get 5 nuggets. They would take a nugget from each kid's box to make sure the other kids had food.
Wow.
That's how serious it was, that they were literally counting nuggets because the school didn't have enough resources at the time in the community to do that, and that comes through per pupil funding. But people who don't have kids don't necessarily see that. People have ability. to make sure that their kids are taken care of, don't necessarily see that. And so we ship them out to these other communities, and our kids are hurting while this is happening. But I don't blame any parents. You got to make the best option that you see for your kids.
That's true.
And so literacy is a huge issue. And that's why the community has to step up and wrap around. It's just sad, Steve. We're at a point now where 6 hours is not enough. We got to be able to take them kids from 4 to 6 o'clock and make sure that they're getting a snack, getting tutoring, and learning how to read. Because
that's what we need. You need to extend the school day, right? Not
even extending the school day, Steve. This is the thing. They need to be in another environment where they're not dealing with those same kids they dealt with all school day. Because the kids that can't read are bullying the other kids. Their discipline problems, they're doing all that other stuff. We need to get these kids in small groups, 5, 10 kids at the max, with some adults who care. See, you got to understand, you got a teacher that's coming from Walled Lake. They can't do nothing that Miss Matthews would be able to do. See, a black mama got just that look that they can give you. And then a black man's presence, they don't even act up at all.
Yeah, that's a fact.
A black man doesn't have to give a look. They can just walk into school and they don't have that problem. It's so crazy. I heard the statistic. Big shout out to Max Main and his group. I heard the statistic when they were having a black men's gathering, right? They said that if a father just pretends to read to a kid, the kid is 50% more likely to be able to read. If you just pick up a book, Steve, and you're in front of a kid and you're acting like you're reading, even if it's just a picture book, if you're acting the act of reading with a father or a father figure, creates a 50% more likelihood that the child will be able to read because they're watching. You talked about making a kid in your image, right?
Right. So that goes back to what I said earlier today. The things I learned from my father just by watching him, right? And that speaks to that.
But there's a second part of that. We can't abdicate our responsibility. We had people like Duck O'Connor, Jab, and all these other men that were there and still are in the community. Coach Rip, that were in the community in Pontiac. And now it's our time to do the same thing, Steve.
Coach Phillips, shout out to Coach Phillips. Kano Phillips doing big things in Pontiac.
Yep, the Sin Foundation just doing, like, he just had a big giveaway with Amazon, and people were selling the Amazon that was free to them. It was just, but anyway, I digress, Steve. But it's just about people stepping up in the community, and fathers figures stepping up in the community and injecting what we need. These kids, when they first come out, when they're babies and 1 to 2 years old, everybody wants to hold them. Everybody wants to mold them. Everybody wants to give them all the attention they can give them. These kids get 12 years old, we act like we don't know where they spawned from. Nobody wants to say that.
Speaking the truth. All right, before we get out of here, Marnice Henning says, Happy Father's Day. Mervyn T. White says, UAW Local 1700 in the building. Karen Stockerson, prayer hands. Tanya Ray said, I will leave a whole full basket if I don't get a person to ring me up. And Karen Stocker says, I'm ready to fight. Karen Stocker said, yes, straw, yes. And Jesse Kazora, my main man Jesse, I saw him yesterday. Happy Father's Day to all who are father figures or pulling the double duty. Shout out, I was at the Men's Health Fair, Region 1, UAW Men's Council had the health fair yesterday. Jesse Kazora, straight from UAW 598, came down. He wasn't the only person, but we had a good turnout, great turnout. We're growing every year. We had a lot of things going on. We had a health screening, we had a health mobile, we had a lot of people. But Jesse come down, and every time I see Jesse puts money in my hands. So special shout out to Jesse, giving money to the show. He knows I pay for this out of my own pocket. He's the person that knows, and he states that, hey, he know I pay for it, and he acts on it. Right? Jesse is one of the few people who, and he's the most prominent one. He extends his hands and he just gives me money. I don't want to tell you how much it is, but it's not $10, it is not $20, and it's not $50. Okay. But he believes in this, and that's what this is about. I'm not begging for anything. I'm just asking people to help produce the show. So my Cash App, BTK1024. That's Bowtie Kennedy 1024. So you want to give to the show, because that's how this show is done. We have to pay our engineer Chantel, who's been doing a lovely job. Me and her are growing in our relationship. I found out some things today that bonded us. We both were in sales, auto sales. Yeah. Right, and she did it from the website. I did it from the actual on the concrete and selling cars, things of that nature. So we're bonding. But it's Father's Day. We got Kermit Williams here. We're talking about the city of Pontiac. We're talking about Kermit Williams. He is running for mayor. I'm also here. I have some money for myself, but I'm asking money for my friend Kermit Williams. He places his, what do you call it? It's not a GoFundMe.
Act Blue.
Act Blue. So he posts his Act Blue on This Is What We Do. Give to this. $10, $20, every little bit counts, right? We want to get him elected to the city of Pontiac. You hear what he has to say. So you know his views. If you like him, send him some money. If you don't like him, send him some money, right? Because the brother's fascinating, right? He's a real, true person. I know this man personally knocked on every single door in his community by himself, alone, to win his first race. And guess what he's doing right now? Knocking on every single door in the city. I walked with him once. I owe him quite a few more times, but he needs help with people knocking on doors. Labor, let's help this man. Let's help this man. He is a person for labor. I posted a video of him in Pontiac on Baldwin. I think that's 653. Mm-hmm. They had an event. He was on there talking. He's always been about labor. He is the people's champion. And this is the people's platform. We got Kermit Williams here today. So give. Help us both out. Help with the show, but help him out. If you send him money, right? Because we gotta get Kermit elected. Let's let Pontiac be the city of labor. Because this is the labor's mayor, right? That's his new title, the labor's mayor. That's who he is. So labor, let's elect our mayor here in Pontiac. Pontiac Motors, General Motors, right? It's a labor city. We were built on the UAW. Let's elect one of our own people, Kermit Williams, to be mayor of Pontiac. His Act Blue app is going up right now on Facebook on the This Is What We Do page. Please give to him, and he's going to put it on there once a week. We're going to pick a special day to give. I haven't thought about idea of us meeting in Pontiac and walk in the city, but I want labor to show up and show out that we can elect someone. Right? All this other big money, it takes $50 a person to elect this guy. Right? There are posters that need to go up. There are billboards, things of that nature. I'm asking for money for him. 1 for 5, 2 for 10, 4 for 20, whatever it is, right? Y'all know what that means, you labor people. 1 for 5, 2 for 10, 4 for 20. Let's get it to Kermit Williams. So his Act Blue app is going up right now. He's going to post it every week. So please give to him. Help get him elected. He is the labor's mayor. And once we get elected, we're going to have a big UAW function in Pontiac. And we're going to champion on our mayor. This is our mayor, the laborer's mayor, Kermit Williams. All right. Anything else, KW?
I can't say nothing after that. Give. But seriously, we need people to phone bank. We need people to door knock. They're trying to buy this election. We've been outspent tremendously by people from outside of the city. But the city is with us. As the Locks would say, the streets are ours. And we've been out there talking to people every day. It's been a blessing. I'm so excited about not only this campaign, but that's why we called it Believe in Pontiac. It's not just believing in Kermit, because this campaign is not about me, it's about us, and we have an opportunity to make this city not only what it should be, but bigger and better than what it was in the past. And so I want this generation to feel what we used to feel when we went through Pontiac. We had 4 community centers, we had houses, we had all the other things that we needed in Pontiac, and now Pontiac is a byword, and we're about to change that. Pontiac is going to be the destination for folks to live, and it's going to happen because of people like you and labor in particular. So thank you, Steve, for having me on here. And again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, father figures, and people that pour into the lives of the community.
That's it, people. Go to the webpage. Go to the Facebook page, the Act Blue, give to Kermit Williams. We've had a good week this week. Next week, we should be coming back with Nick Barnes. See you soon.